Yo, it's your boy Logos. And a couple days ago, I did a video similar to this one by a different person. I think he was a college professor. And I actually have that link down below in case you're curious. Overall, I do see similarities, but also differences too. It could be the civil wars. It could be private citizens own their armies and they use those armies to enact their own political agendas, which is something different than modern day America. But tribalism, with the rise in the political violence, and people trying to use that political violence for their own purposes or try to use it in such a way to further themselves or their own aims is something that was going on in Rome. And it was definitely going on leading up to the Fall Republic. I think the Fall Republic and then the Fall of the Roman Empire has similarities between America in both instances. But it's pretty complicated. I'm curious to see this guy's opinion on it and if I agree or disagree, anything I could add to it. I don't know. I really never heard of Jimmy Carr before, but let's get into it. I'm curious.
The Joe Rogan experience.
Imagine the research that could go into that with that budget. And you go, look, you're not going to win the war on drugs. You don't even, there's prisons, high security, category A prisons, and they've got drugs in them. You can't even keep the drugs out of there.
That's true.
Good luck with the borders.
Yeah.
Just too much territory.
It strikes me as like you go, just admit you're not going to win that fight.
Right.
And what are we going to do? And that best practice of going, well, that's going on in Portugal now. They've done a 15-year test case. We know it works. I mean, Lisbon now. Have you been to Lisbon?
No.
You should go to Lisbon.
Yeah?
Food is, I mean, the Portuguese. It's fabulous. Such a great city. Such a great city. Lisbon and Porto. I mean, I don't really know the rest of Portugal that well, but they're both phenomenal places to play gigs, and they love stand-up comedy. It's just a
Isn't it
wonderful
crazy
place.
that little country was like conquering the world at one point in time?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm from Great Britain. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah,
That's true.
we had a great run.
Wasn't
Yeah.
We had a
bad.
great. I tell you what, we used to own this.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy, right?
It is crazy. It's crazy how empires rise and fall. And
It's
that's one
inevitable.
of the things that people are wondering currently about America. If we're in the last throes of a dying empire.
Well, I got a hot take on this.
Please.
I don't think they do. So I don't think the Roman Empire fell. I think it became a church. I think the Rome fell, but the Roman Empire became the church. Where's all the money from the Roman Empire?
The Vatican.
In the basement of the Vatican is where it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's. I don't
Really?
think the
Have you
British.
been?
The
Is
Vatican-
that true?
Yeah. Phew.
If you know more about what he's talking about, like the money from the Roman Empire is in the basement of the Vatican, please give more detail because I really have no idea what he's talking about. If that's true in a type of way, like, I don't know, treasures, artwork, like, stuff like that, like ceremonial stuff that previous emperors might have used at the time of the Roman Empire in the West. I'm not even talking about Byzantium, just in the West. If you know about that stuff, let me know because I'll definitely research that stuff in my free time. I really didn't know about that type of stuff. I do agree with him that I think the Roman Empire did fall, but it also evolved too at the same time. People do make cases that there was new Romes, like Russia was a Rome, the Ottoman Empire was Rome after they conquered Byzantium and conquered Constantinople and made it into Istanbul. So people have made this argument before, the Holy Roman Empire too, which I would make more of the case really isn't the Roman Empire. It's kind of funny. How can you establish a new Roman Empire while the Roman Empire is still alive and well in the East? Byzantium. Like Greece is not that far from Italy. It's right over the sea. I can't remember where exact sea that is in between Greece and Italy. I want to say the Adriatic, but I think that's wrong. But either way, it's not that far apart. But this whole idea of multiple Romes or Rome evolving or changing locations, that's something that does make sense to me. And I have heard that before.
It's incredible.
Bizarre.
It's incredible. It's a city within a city.
The wealth, the sheer wealth in art is overwhelming.
But
Like St. Peter's
that makes
Basilica,
sense.
when I walked in there, my mouth was open the entire time I was there. Like, you just can't believe the amount of craftsmanship, the architecture, the art, the painting.
Well, I mean, if you think
I still need, before I die, I need to go to Rome. I need to go to Rome. I gotta see the museums. I gotta see the statues. I gotta see the ruins. I gotta see the basilica. I gotta see all this type of stuff. This stuff is every time I hear it, it sounds absolutely crazy to me. And I want to see that art that Michelangelo and all these other people from the Renaissance and beforehand created all in this one place and dedicated to many different things. It could be to God. It could be from the Romans and dedicated to Jupiter. It could be from some other place that they conquered and brought treasures over. Who knows? But I really gotta go and see that.
Think about culturally what happened. Every song, every painting was about God until 100 years ago. And now every song's about love. I think they're talking about the same thing, but that's me being an old hippie. So Roman Empire became a church. British Empire became a bank.
Yeah.
So we gave our empire back. We said, oh, yeah, sorry. Sorry about that. You can have that back. We gave, Saudi Arabia back and all these other places that we'd sort of we'd taken the resources. And then they had their own money. And then we went, oh, well, what are you doing with that money? Because we've got this thing called the City of London. I tell you what, it's your money, but we're going to hold it. We'll have it over here. Is that okay? Yeah, fine, great. So we've still got that thing of like,
Influence.
and culturally, I think, America's extraordinary. It's an extraordinary place. It's kind of based on this amazing premise. It strikes me that America is, it's better now, objectively, than it has ever been, and subjectively, worse than it's ever been.
That's true. I agree with him completely. I agree completely on that. Like objectively, in terms of all the stuff that we overcame, all the stuff that we was able to fight through, slavery, Great Depression, Civil War, World War II, Cold War, terrorist attacks, all the different things that happened across this country over the past almost 300 years since it's been conceived, but we still haven't fell apart. And I can still say that objectively, we're a lot better now than we ever was before, at least in my opinion. But then subjectively, like from your position as an American citizen, it could look like we're worse off because of inflation, because of rising costs of just living in general, whether it be food, gas, everything else, your home, insurance, everything just going up. So it's good and bad, but that's often the case in history. When you look at history just within the moment, it's going to look like something is this way or that way, or it could change between both of those things at a drop of a dime. But when you take a bigger, wider view of it, you see your overall progress. But it's hard to tell a family that, or tell a parent that, if they're struggling to support themselves or their children or their family. But yeah, I agree completely with what you're saying. And I think what I just said kind of like breaks down my interpretation of it.
So you go, the experience, it seems bad, but objectively, when you look at the metrics, it's good. So that's kind of Steven Pinker thing. But I mean, subjectivity is important. Like people feel like they're at war, and actually this is the land of milk and honey. And I think it's still got a bit of that thing of like Austin, Texas maybe has it as much as anywhere. It's whispering, go and be yourself.
Yeah.
The pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
It's still got that kind of that dream.
Individualism.
Well, I'm always fascinated how people from other parts of the world see it. That's what's interesting. When someone comes here and they just like look around. Like I had the trigonometry guys here the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Francis and Constantine. And when we were here and we were coming to the club, they were like, "Mate, this place is incredible." Like the freedom that you guys have and the wildness that's in the air. Like it's so intoxicating and exciting. Like this is something's really happening here.
Well, it's a beacon. It's always been a bit of a beacon, America, because it's kind of founded on an idea, and the devil's in the detail. Well, I always think of the Statue of Liberty. You ever seen? There's a thing in Paris in the Musée d'Orsay. There's the model. They made a model of because it was crowdfunded, the Statue of Liberty. It was a gift from the people of France to the people of America.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of post-revolution. They thought, well, this is a good idea. Yeah, we'll get them something nice. We'll get them a nice statue. So they funded it. The French people gave money. And the thing, when you see the model of the Statue of Liberty, you realize she's not just carrying a torch. She's walking forward. You realize she's moving forward. And it kind of changes it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there'll be, I think there's potential for, I think America hasn't seen its finest days yet. I would hope.
I would hope as well.
I mean, Britain has to
Yeah,
find a
they
new
have
place in the
to.
world. But, Brexit and everything happened. We need to find, its purpose. Like, I think with people, with nations, with the world, it's like finding purpose is very important.
Yeah.
And what's the next, purpose going to be? How are we going to fit in? What's our place going to be?
That's a very good conversation. I haven't heard of this guy before, but maybe I'll check out the full podcast. I think he's a comedian, so he probably doesn't always have conversations like this. But the fact that he can go both ways in terms of, being serious and then being comedic, I don't know, you can appreciate that. I often see that with a lot of comedians I like, whether it be Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Dave Chappelle, Dan Carlin. Why am I forgetting this? George Carlin. And George Carlin, they just have the ability to make on the observations, Steve Harvey observations on like society and like people, and they notice nuances and things and quirks and stuff. I don't know, maybe it's because comedians they need to get their material from life and the world so they can see the world in a comedic or a ridiculous type of viewpoint that most people don't care to, or don't have the time to, or the ability to see it. Kind of like this third eye thing with Joe Rogan right here. I've heard that before. Steve Harvey talked about that. That's why I mentioned Steve Harvey at the very end when I was naming comedians, because I'm a fan of his early work, not more since he been all, TV show Steve and shit. But he would talk about the third eye. He would say like him being the comedian, having this third eye, lets him see stuff that, people don't normally see in the interactions of people in society. So I think that's why comedians often can, shine a light on things people don't see. Plus, they can sometimes make it funny, even if it's not funny, and then that resonates with you in a certain way where you retain it better. You think about it longer. Like, yeah, you make it laugh, but like, damn, that is pretty ridiculous that it is real. Like, it's so ridiculous it's funny, but it's even more ridiculous that this isn't made up. This is what's really going on. And I just appreciate these conversations like that. Overall, I hope America doesn't collapse like the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire wasn't a nice, safe, comfort-filled collapse, and it definitely had an effect on the surrounding countries or territories that was part of the Roman Empire. Whether it be France, Britain, Spain, it always had an effect on the people that were so used to the Roman system of trade, governorship, military protection, many different things. People want to talk so much stuff about America or certain systems and stuff, but they constantly ignore the fact that once that system you hate so much collapse, it's not going to be peaceful. It's probably going to be warfare. It probably may be civil warfare, but also could be international warfare. Other nations, whether empires or other peoples, tribes, whatever you want to call it, depending on the time period, see your nation being weak, its citizens unprotected and starving, and they'll swoop in and take over. They'll kill you, take your land, and put their own people on your land to work it and make money and taxes off of that. Or they'll sell you into slavery, or they'll do something else to you. Either way, it's not something you're going to be a fan of. If you enjoy freedom, freedom of thought, freedom of action, and freedom of choice. I'm grateful to be an American, and I think seeing this stuff in the world going on right now, whether it be Israel and the stuff that just kicked off in the past 24, 30 hours, it's insane. I just like woke up yesterday morning at like midnight, and like a couple hours later, I just checked Twitter, and I see freaking Benjamin Netanyahu talking about we at war with Hamas and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I see rocket attacks and all this invasions by sea, air, and land from Hamas and all this other crazy shit, man. It's absolutely insane. But us Americans were detached from it because we have a whole ocean, a moat separating us from the rest of the world, from the vast majority of the world. And there's nobody on our side that's remotely close to us in power. The next closest country to us in power is across an ocean or two. China, Russia. I can't really think of anybody else that's like antagonistic and that's close to our power. And that gives you certain advantages, certain things you don't have to deal with. yes, we do have inflation here in America, and that might lead the people thinking we're collapsing or something. But our inflation ain't shit compared to the rest of the world inflation. What we're dealing with ain't shit compared to what Sri Lanka and other countries are collapsing because the governments can't provide any type of infrastructure or support to the people, and they just want to hold on to their power. So, as much as I say we are corrupt, our politicians are corrupt, and we need to focus on things to fit stuff, that doesn't mean we're just, I don't know, falling apart at the seams. That's not the case. Look at the world and you can see it's not the case. But let me just think in the comments down below. I don't think it's possible we can fix it, but I don't think we're going to collapse like the Roman Empire. There's differences, some similarities, but it's all complicated. And we'll still have time to fix it all if you ask me. Every single generation think they're going through the apocalypse and the end of the world, truthfully, but until it actually happens, you're not. We're not. A civilization isn't. It may be painful, it may suck, but something being painful or hard or shitty isn't compared to, being conquered, invaded, massacred, enslaved. So let's not be hyperbolic. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's your boy Logos. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.